Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. I actually forgot that. You know what, Jared? Get your life together. Clapper. I was like, I don't even know where else to go. Um, but there are people that are like, I want to watch the show, but I'm not watching you on YouTube. Um, so, good morning, everybody. Let me get my shit together. It's okay. I've been sitting on this for a while, but what's gonna happen is one day we're gonna catch fire. Maybe it's here, right? Maybe it's here. Hello, Clapper. Which, as far as my experience goes, Clapper is just it's like the Latin TikTok or something. It's what it feels like when you go there and you look at your feed. It's like Latin comedy. I hope you don't ever see me and you're like he's trying. Okay. Today was one of those days where I think it was just humid because when I got out of the shower and I dried off, my beard was straight out. Oh, it was awful. So I like combed my beard, which you do every day, but I don't normally put anything in it. And so today I actually had to put beard oil in, and it actually looks like I'm fucking working. I'm a I work from home, dog. No, everybody see my face. Okay. You all need to see my face. Okay. And remember, as per the usual, we start our show every day. War started playing right as I said that, kind of fit. Okay, we start our day with War. Morning, Debs, Danielle, Zeke, Carlin, Angie. What's up, everybody? Couple people there on Clapper. Good to see y'all. Hey. Morning, ladies. I think historians claim Donald Trump is speeding towards dictatorship. And I want to talk about today, one of the things I'd said, one of the things that'll get us, yes, yes. One of the things that's going to get us through these times is comedy, is art, is satire, is music. I'm not emotional, don't worry. Just, um, but yeah, so I need a cartoonist. I need to meet someone that can do motion art. I have an idea that could absolutely fucking destroy this regime, and it would literally be banned. It'd be the most valuable product ever made ever. But I want to make a cartoon, and it's Donald Trump, who would be characterized President Poopy Pants. And in my brain, and so if someone wants to start writing this shit down, because I'm just gonna go, President Mick Poopy Pants. So I want to make sure we get it right. Okay. M, capital M, little c, capital Poopypants, Captain McPoopy Pants. And it's Donald Trump as a child, as an adult. Okay? And his sidekicks are Elon Musk or Captain Ketamine. Okay? I'll let you take it in for a moment and appreciate it. President McPoopy Pants and Captain Ketamine. Okay? And I know right away you're like, oh, I can't wait to hear what he has for Pete Hegseth. Oh boy. So the only thing I could think is because he's boring to me. When he speaks, you're just like, how predictable. Uh, he has a major drinking problem and was a major. So why not? One of President McPoopy Pants' sidekicks, major drinking problem. And then he goes by Don. And it's just a glass with ice cubes in it and a drink. And it's like constantly stumbling and falling over and spilling booze out and shit. Clearly addicted to its cell phone. Good morning, Gabby. I'm hoping, because this is such a stark change from what our usual content is, that people are just dying fucking laughing. Like, holy shit, I'm envisioning this cartoon. I haven't figured out what to call it yet, but I think I'm really onto something. Again, I want to go back to President McPoopy Pants, okay, which is Donald Trump cartoon as a child, as an adult. So, like, he's an adult person that looks like a 3-year-old, just bopping around on a cartoon, right? And his sidekick is clearly somebody addicted to uppers, Captain Ketamine. And so clearly that character, I haven't quite fleshed out what they look like in light of Donald Trump, the main character, being again like a baby, cartoon baby that's an adult person. Like, okay. Von shits his pants. You mean yes, yes, yes. So I'm all about satire and like comedy and like it's a way to like sort of express your it's a form of expression that's like acceptable. Captain Underpants boy. Perfect. The fact that it's not even original is even better. Yes. But I think about it like Donald Trump as an infant, as like a small child, and he's instead of brass knuckles, it's the McDonald's arches, right? And he's obsessed with McDonald's. I just wanted to point that out that he's still obsessed with McDonald's, just not that he doesn't wear brass knuckles that have the McDonald's M on them. That's what Captain Underpants boy got. Just can you imagine having to carry around a diaper bag for yourself? Man, getting old is gonna suck. Can you imagine having to carry around a diaper bag for yourself and you have dementia? So no wonder he's in a bad mood and tries to be super destructive. Can you imagine shitting yourself, having to go like clean yourself off, right? And then forgetting that you have like a whole bag of toys that you have to fucking take everywhere because if you don't, you're gonna fucking embarrass yourself, right? Yo! By the way, my agent reached out and said we lost our appeal. So that tells me to dumb it down, right? Because we got a month before we got a week this time. Okay, so well, hey, life is a delicate balance. I think that as you try to achieve balance in all things and you try to balance out the good with the bad, right? Make sure you get plenty of sleep, hydrate, eat right, exercise. There's a reason I tell people this is because my entire life, when I've ever run into someone that's having like major health problems and their life's basically over and they're trying to rationalize it, it's always one of those things. And it's a sad way to live for a lot of people. A lot of people feel like they gotta work nonstop and they can never rest. And I get it. The uh, the math set. Are you ready for this, Crush? You're just gonna roll your eyes. I don't even know how old you are, sis. But the math says we'll either asphyxiate or fry before you shit yourself. So, you know what I'm saying, Gabby? That motherfucker's, and you know what? He is extravagant too. So this motherfucker's just leaving these bags everywhere. Like, he has to constantly replace. He probably has another airplane that just follows him around and it just carries Donnie's diaper bag. But in the cartoon, it's like a gold bag. It's handcuffed to his wrist. And yes, it has diapers in it. And he occasionally just whoop. And he gets real red and starts shaking and he almost says a racial slur. And then he goes and changes himself and splashes some water in his face and just wonder why everybody's getting him a dirty look. And, well, it's because you wipe shit on the mirror again in another establishment in the same neighborhood. Man, he sucks. Right, and he's a big grown adult man. I think I only have a couple. I'm 41, 42, about to be 42. I don't know how old I am. I'm about to be 42, I think. Born July 83. So my birthday's soon. May, June, July. In the next, like, couple months. 42. About to be 42. Yeah. Do I think Elon changes him? I mean, you're really not gonna like this relationship. Uh, Gabby, I think Don and Elon are in love, and Elon's what keeps makes me ugh. It's what keeps Donald Trump alive and waking up every night. Well, midday. Don doesn't do much before 11. July of 80. No shit. Should be 45. So yeah, I wanted to sort of break up the. I think maybe my brain was like, we need to sort of break the monotony. Shit is bad. We'll be right back. I'm envisioning this cartoon, and so whether it happens or not, we could just play around in that sandbox a little bit. Um, Tulsi Gabbard, for the record. Well, she's just an Israeli asset. So, see, this is what I can't understand. Are you ready? Okay. if somebody has to help that motherfucker clean himself up, and then he does the kind of shit he does, I wouldn't get anywhere near him. Think about this. Mark Zuckerberg flies to Mar-a-Lago. What are the odds Donald shit himself while Mark Zuckerberg was there? And Mark Zuckerberg was like, I'm not helping you, Don. And he gave him $1 million and just left. Right? And that's his extortion scheme. Maybe that's what Donald Trump does, is he corners these rich guys and then shits himself and is like, basically dying. And he tries to get them to fucking help him clean him up. And if they help him clean him up, then he knows he can trust them. And he generally like, and so again, I want to point out that all of his like advisors and staff, I'm telling you, say it with your mouth hole, have helped him clean himself up. You want to bet me money? What do you bet if you're, hey, I'll bet you cash. You want to lay against? What do you bet all of them people have helped him pull his pants up? And the people that he hates, the people that he targets, are the people that he perceives as people that wouldn't help him when he shits himself in front of him. What do you think? Right? It's because he knows if you don't like him, you'll just avoid him altogether, right? What do you bet his inner circle are all people that have helped change Donald's diaper? Like in your head, have you not done this already? Like go through and you're like, "Yep, they would do it. Totally they're a diaper changer." Diaper changer. Mhm. That's the only thing I can think. Midas Touch got banned from TikTok yesterday. I mean that should riddle you that. Okay? So for those of you that are here that are like wondering what the fuck's going on, Jared, why aren't you on TikTok? We got banned. Do you not understand what we got banned for doing? We were decrying racism. Just full stop. Someone in the comments said that they could empathize with someone being racist based on their experience with a specific group of people. And I said, that is your anecdotal experience, and it cannot shape your overall feelings about a race of people, lest it be called racism. That's literally racism. Like you're just, like it's okay. And their response to that was, have you ever been to a Balkan country? And it was like, the pervasion of racism, like its pervasion, does not permit it. So because something is off, that is awful, exists in the world, does not mean that it should just be. That's the fucking problem people have. Good afternoon. That's a problem people have, is they have principles, they just don't stand on them. They mean nothing, right? It's like when I was in Boy Scouts. Okay, when I was in Boy Scouts, you got to say stuff. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. And when I look back on all the Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts that I know, how'd you do on all that? So a lot of people just go through the fucking motions. There's a reason that I come in here every day and I preach, like, hey, just live your life the right way. Like, get 8 hours of sleep at night, drink water, eat right, exercise, right? It's because we know we're trying to do pretty fair and balanced, good journalism. You guys got to admit, my sources are pretty tight. Nobody's coming after me and saying I'm saying shit that's not true, right? We're talking largely about the news. And yeah, I do talk about myself. Yeah, what the fuck else is it otherwise? And then sometimes we'll take like a little break from it all for a few minutes here as we get started. And you know what happened? Somebody wrote a story about Donald Trump's cartoon like chaos. And it's because all of this shit feels like a fucking cartoon. You know what it is? It's like a cartoon where and think about it, if Donald Trump had anything to do with it, the laugh track would be turned all the way to fucking 10 where they would just nonstop laugh at the end of every sentence and it would get piss you off where you're like this shit is not that funny. So instead you turn the fucking laugh track off. So there's no laugh track behind it, which makes it even fucking in my eyes, the laugh track is great if if it is a part of the show. But if I don't know about y'all, but it's like if Donald Trump ran it, that fucking laugh track would be turned up to 10, and at the end of every sentence, it'd be like a raucous, right? So turn the laugh track on 0, and it's a grown man that's a baby. That's a grown man. And I gotta play some, because they're the same age, but they have dumb. Because again, I want to say Elon Musk is trapped in his mid 20s. He must have done something horrible in his mid 20s. Hmm. We should figure that out. What happened in the 90s? He's stuck there. He must have done something bad then. I mean, obviously, he's done a lot of bad shit now, too, right? It's not really saying anything. But anyway, that's what I made a video about this morning. That's what I woke up on. And it's clearly and it's in other people, it's in other journalists' heads where they're like, he hasn't actually accomplished anything. I'm going to keep pointing this out. He has signed like a few pieces of legislation. Executive orders don't mean anything. It's like, yeah, he wrote the shit down. He's dumb. But it's almost like if y'all are going to let him live by executive order and presidential order, then he's going to ruin you. I mean, he tried to ban all the trans people from the military. How'd that work out? It got struck down. Thank you. Hmm. Okay. And if we haven't already, good afternoon, Kevin. So I'm taking my energy, right, that I'm receiving from the universe, getting kicked off of TikTok for a week, oorah. Kicked off of TikTok for a week for saying racism is bad, okay? And I joined a union yesterday. I was in tutu. That's badass. Thanks, Anthony. Have a good day, man. So, you like Anthony? You like UFC? Like Ultimate Fighting? Okay. Check this out. So I was in Second Battalion, Second Marines Weapons Company, aboard the 26 Mu, aboard the USS Baton as part of the 26 Mu, for 8 days. So I think I have the least days at sea of anyone ever. Um, Long story. I got to fly back to shore on a sea night though. Um, they sent me to 8th Marine Regiment headquarters. And when I checked in, um, then they were a lieutenant. But I was there when they got pinned captain. You may know Brian Stan. I can't remember his particular like glory story, but he has like a silver star. But I was there when he got pinned captain. He was about 6'2", 205. Uh, and he started working out, doing the not McMap, but boxing. Like he would go to the gym and box. And so I was his driver, drove him to the gym for several months, and I drove during the day is what my job was on base. Mostly drove people to the brig and back. Drove Captain Stan to the fucking boxing gym and back. And I was at his first 2 fights against Cantwell. But yeah, he eventually beat Michael Bisping. He had a great career. He was game every fight. He's a fucking Marine, right? Stand-up fighter. I hurt my shoulder the first time, August 26, 2006. And then it felt like every month or so after that. I think when you break your arm, I think you're going to keep hurting it. Know what I mean? And that's what I've told everybody this whole time is like a series of injuries. Mm-hmm. But yeah, drove Brian Stan to the boxing gym and back with my arm in a sling. I can only use one arm. Like barely steer with my hand upside down with the other hand, right? Have a good day, Danielle. All right, so let's get to the news. Clearly, what I woke up on was God. It's like living through a shitty cartoon, right? And then my brain is like, I've been telling people that's how you fight this. How you fight fascism is with comedy, with art, with satire. They can't stand it. It will literally cause them to melt down, and do absolutely nothing. Your ITB instructor went to boot camp with Randy Orton. That's fucking insane. One of the things that happened when I first got out of the Marine Corps for like several years is I had no shortage of places to go roll around. Um, there were like 3 UFC fighters who all I can't remember. God, it's been so long I don't want to speak on it because I haven't thought about. I'll be real honest. I was really a passionate like GSP fan. Um, and then when he retired, I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm good. That was the greatest. That was the greatest to ever do it. But I can't remember his name. But there were 3 UFC fighters that were like all working together in Indianapolis, and they split up, and they were all at different gyms. And so there was like a several year period where like I would get a call every now and then, hey, you want to roll around? And it's like, does somebody need a wrestling partner? Because I'm not looking to come in there and get my ass kicked, right? But anyway, so a shitty cartoon, exactly. So hey, um, a lot of people, I've had this conversation a lot in my life, and I wanted to make sure that we spent a good amount of time on this today. I really wish we were on TikTok, okay? Because all I did was share unionplus.org, okay? And the page that I shared was talking about how to join a union, okay? Okay. If you go to the link that I shared, basically in the middle of the page or right below right, I mean it's above the fold on my page, but I'm guessing you're looking for the link that says how locate your individual union, which I would talk about being in like the lower third of the page, right in the middle. Locate your individual union. Okay? And so depending on your vocation, my friend, whatever you individually do, there's probably a union for that. Okay? If you're already a union member, Do me a favor so that, because there's so few of us, put your job title and what your union's called so that I get an idea. Because I do some research, and research is different from reality. Research is even different from like the small group of people here. There's 22 for the record. That's a lot of people. Okay, join. This is what I did. Apparently, if you only see a few minutes of me talk, listen to me. I have been informed, meaning I didn't come to y'all with this, that Midas Touch got banned on TikTok yesterday too. We got banned yesterday for fighting against racism. Um, okay. Full stop. We didn't get banned from posting on TikTok though, and I'm gonna tear that ass up. Okay. They profit off of racism. So, okay. So if you would do me a favor in the comments, please, on YouTube, if you are a member of a union, put what you do for a living and what is the name of your union. Otherwise, if your job type doesn't have like a union, that's okay because that's what I joined. I joined Working America. Okay? Working America. And keep in mind, these are all like under the okay, Bob's in the International Association of Firefighters. Thanks, Bob. That's fucking awesome, right? Again, Bob, I don't know if I've ever told you this. I told one of my customers this, and then they told me they were a firefighter, and I was like, well, there you go. Okay. Crush, you could join Working America. Okay. Here's a link. Okay. I'm again about to be 42 years old. I've worked in a lot of different fields, um, and I've been out in the public at events, and I've been like exposed to who's doing what where. Long story short. And if you really want to know how can be in a union, yeah, joining a union is you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Join Work in America, Patty. Bang. Yeah. As long as it doesn't interfere with the function of your job, there's absolutely nothing they can't keep you from joining a union. Okay, and it shouldn't cost you any money to do it. Okay. Now, should you elect to support your union financially, that's on you. Take the first step. Either brag about your union in my comments and say this is who my union is. Oh, that's awesome. Let's give some flowers to that vocation, right? Um, I've often realized as someone that's been out, like I was on active duty, and then I've been a single man, right, without children, right, and actually been able to go to like sporting events and concerts and music festivals and see who actually runs shit. And I'm be dead honest with you, it's fucking paramedics, EMTs, and firefighters. If you really, really want to be about it, like who's doing what, who's keeping what. It's the people, and again, this is no disrespect to police. Okay, I again, my entire family is law enforcement. No, except ACAB and fuck the police. Um, I've also worked with really hardworking police that were part of the solution. Okay, and not the problem. Okay, but paramedics, EMTs, and firefighters. Now, from what I've never heard a firefighter say, "I'm not getting paid." Okay, but I've definitely heard like paramedics and EMTs don't get paid that well. And they're doing life-changing work. Obviously, I'm kind of understating how important paramedics, EMTs, and firefighters are to just function. In many instances, the reason things don't happen is because of a lack of skilled medical workers. I'm a high school football coach. I know that in order for there to be a football game played, I have to have someone that can address a TBI. That's their that's like their job. Their job is to watch the game and hear the crack and say that guy's wobbling around, think that's a TBI, and address that. And that's their job. And they can't work for either team. But usually the home team has to provide that person. So like I said, everybody thinks that their job keeps them from getting into union work. Nope. Nope. It was us the whole time. Again, remember one of the things that have realized in all of this is that many people are not actually oppressed. Instead, they just have a boot on their face, and there's a hand in the boot, and it's their hand, and they are oppressing themselves into inaction. And it may be because you're depressed or you're anxious or you're concerned about what's going to happen in the future. But if you don't make the moves, right? If you don't actually, for me, it has always been if you don't put your money where your mouth is. If you don't do what you say, do what you tell other people to do, you're a fraud, right? So I took the action against me, right? Where I was saying racism is inexcusable. I don't care where you live in the world, it's not okay. The fact that it's pervasive does not permit it. Okay? I will keep saying that. And it's also Russian propaganda. And I want to make sure I say that. People say like, "No, racism is American pie." So listen to Cece in my comments. She used to work at Dominic's grocery store. It was a Union Grocery Stores of America. Jewel Foods and Mariano's are under Union, and that's what saved the merger between Albertsons and Kroger. So you see, as I have said many times since we started this show, coming up on 6 months straight without a break, and never stopping. I don't get exhausted. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm just gonna come in every day. We're gonna talk about the news. We're gonna keep the plan in place. We're gonna keep talking about the plan. I am a syndicalist socialist. hmm I'm a founder of the American Socialist Party. I want everyone to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. You know what I watched yesterday? I watched a bunch of people have a conversation. Now, Bob, I'm going to say the only thing I'll say to that with my anecdotal experience is that I met a bunch of teachers in the last couple years that are just okay with the status quo and aren't willing to go above and beyond for these kids. And ultimately, uh, I actually don't know what you're doing because you don't get paid enough. I'm one of those people where if I know that I'm underpaid, I'm putting in maximum fucking effort at that job with the objective of overperforming at that job and getting the next job that pays more. Cece also said that her boyfriend was a part of a roofers union. Okay. So yeah, go to unionplus.org, figure out if there's a union specific to your job. Okay. Then, if there's not, hey, just join Work in America with me. I joined the my job doesn't have a union. Okay. And I was gonna join Teamsters, but it doesn't seem like there's anyone in Indy. Maybe I'd be starting a Teamsters here in Indy. Wouldn't that be wild? Yeah, boy. That's crazy. Anyway, yeah, I went to like look up Teamsters in Indianapolis, and it was like none found. Hmm. Hmm. So you see here, um, Cece worked at a union grocery store. Her husband was part of a roofers union. Okay. Bob was a firefighter, part of the International Association of Firefighters. Bob also said, see, Bob's awesome. This is somebody who should run for politics. Okay. Before the IAFF, he was in the Carpenters Union. Okay. So there's a reason Bob's able, as a male, is able to sit and listen to me and not see me as an enemy, is because Bob's been doing what I'm telling other people to do. Right? Be a part of a union, get into union leadership, have the objective of just making sure that you're taking care of people. You know what I mean? Like you're just trying to get people better wages and benefits. It's actually pretty easy, right? Kay Heron, retired from Teamsters Local 107, was an office worker for Plumbers Union Local 690. Okay. Cece said, and are you talking about with Albertsons and Kroger? Is that what you're talking about there, Cece? With the workers would have lost all their pensions. The lawyers kept fighting for a couple years. But yeah. Kay Heron says she's also an office worker for Plumbers Union Local 690. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would love to do is get involved with a union. Yeah, plumbers have unions. Okay. But you got to raise union memberships because of what unions are for, right? Remember, unions are why you have a 40-hour work week and weekends and you know what I mean? Like there's tons of reasons and protections that exist because unions exist, right? Angela Tuoafu said this is scary. Just came out of the farmer's market up in Waldwick, New Jersey. These places empty, no fruit. Mm-hmm. Kay Heron said all of her sons are members of Plumbers 690, which is a building trades union, and they're all journeymen. See, you see it it's getting pulled out of the audience, right? You see how much union is in our core audience that shows up every day because they know I'm right, right? You can't keep raising the cost of healthcare and not raise wages. You can't keep raising the cost of education and not raise wages. You can't keep raising the cost of living and not raise wages. And again, I've pointed to look what Donald Trump was able to do in Dubai. He was able to get hundreds of people, I believe, from Myanmar to come to Dubai with the hopes and the dreams of building this Trump resort, right? And it probably putting that shit on their resume and then getting the fuck out of there, right? Only to get there, get all their documentation taken away from them, put into group housing, and then charged more a day in rent for shitty living conditions than they make as staff. And so they're stuck. And that's how they die. Just work until you give up. Suicide rate is super high in that small population of people. Hmm. Hmm. And again, as I've said, you these people that are billionaires, you don't get to become a billionaire without stepping on people's backs and breaking them. I was gonna say, isn't it a little early to be getting fruit at a farmer's market? How in the last frost was like a few weeks ago. Shit is just planted. Bob's dad was a president of a local for carpenters all. Uncle's carpenters. One's a secretary treasurer. One's a business agent. Yep. See. Now I can't speak on my experience with unions because I hate to say that, Bob. I got like a more modern education where my degree is like graphic design with a focus on social media and project management. And so when I came out of school, I could have gone entry level at Xerox, okay, 11.30 an hour, or I could work for a local company. And so again, instead of joining a union straight out of college, which again, I should have joined a union coming home from the Marine Corps, but here's my thing. I'm not religious. I don't want religion baked into my union. And there was too much of that with the VFW and the American Legion and you know what I mean? And I can't remember there was two other these sorts of groups that I went and I listened to people speak, and the moment they just start droning on about faith, I'm like, check the fuck out. Like this is just not a good message. Not everybody needs that. Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not again, Angela. I don't want you to think that I'm hating on you. I just want you to know I think it's a little early in the year to expect there to be fruit at the farmers market. They just planted that shit like a month ago. That's all I'm saying. And the temperature has varied greatly in the last month. We could have had an additional frost that these farmers had to replant. So in addition to all of the shit that's going on all over the world, locals farmers markets aren't sourcing international food. You would just get that at a grocery store. There's no, yeah, locals aren't getting shit off a boat. Yeah, union membership on the whole has been in a decline for going on 70 years. And I can't place it. I don't know where anti-union sentiment came from. But I have a feeling it's outside of the United States. And I think it's pretty fair to say Donald Trump is like the most anti-union president, and the people that helped him buy this election, all his handlers are anti-union. P.S. Her ex-husband was also a building trades union member, which means she gets three pensions, two from his local, one from yours, and Social Security. I most certainly cannot complain. No, yeah. And understand this. The only Are you ready for this? I was taking stock of the amount of phone conversations I've had since I graduated college. So I've basically spent the last 12 years graduated in 12, yeah. Better part of like 12 years on the phone talking to people all day every day for business. The only people that I've met that are surviving the last decade, like doing more than crashing out, are veterans and union members and college graduates. There are very few people that I've met that are sort of like surviving and thriving through what's going on. Specifically, I would say like the Trump administration slash COVID. And again, I think we don't talk about. Yeah, again, and I don't want, again, don't want to make a habit of beating up too bad on my audience members. Again, I'm just going to stick my foot in there and say it's too early, too early. Maybe by the end of the month you might get uh some first batches of stuff, but I still think it's too early and we haven't had enough sunshine, and the temperature's been too wild. Somebody step in here that's a gardener and tell me, hey, I think you're right or wrong. I just don't think your local farmers market's stocked up yet, and there's no sense in that putting anything out there unless you want to sell like a garage sale item. But yeah, here's joining union. I join Work in America. Okay. Yeah, I got you, Anch. Zone 5 can't plant till after May Day. See, I don't Mother's Day. See, I don't even know what I'm doing. I gotta have a better plan. It's like I know what I want to do, but I'm one of those people. It's like I want best possible outcome. I want I don't care about minimal investment. I care about correct level of investment based on what I'm capable and able of producing, right? And or am requiring, right? And here's my thing. One of the things that reasons that I personally am motivated to grow a garden. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? I think I am capable of producing far more than I need and can just give away quite a bit. And just say, look, I'm gonna set in a basket. Come by and get come by with a paper bag and get what you need. You know, that's one of the reasons I want to grow a garden is because I think I'm just capable of producing more than I require for not that much. Like I think that I no shit. I think I could grow taters and onions and peppers, and I think I'm gonna have to plant blueberries in my yard. The push that you must go to college started for kids your age, same as my son's. Yeah, one of the things that I realized because I've been in therapy most of my life is that most kids don't. I lived a charmed life, despite my dad being like violently, physically, and verbally abusive. Besides that, I lived a fucking charmed life. Um, my mom told me when I was an adult, like 15 years ago, your dad thought you were the center of the universe until you could tie your shoe. And then it all came crashing down where you were just learning so fast that he couldn't handle the fact that this young person is capable of being highly intelligent, right? So there's a reason he was trying to knock me around a little bit and rattled my cage, right? So maybe I wouldn't remember, right? But when I was very young, first of all, I had to repeat kindergarten. So I was born in Ohio and went to kindergarten there. And when we moved to Illinois, because I have a summer birthday, it pushed me back a year. Patty, there's a reason I tell everyone you got to start at a young age. You got to get 8 hours of sleep. You probably need to take a nap. You got to drink water. You got to eat right. You got to exercise, because you got work to do. You got to grow a garden. You got to limit your reliance on this system, right? It's like I want you to grow a garden and then get to know a local butcher and stop shopping at the grocery store. That's what I'm trying to fucking put people on. I'm trying to get you to stop paying that fucking electric bill by putting up solar panels, getting a fucking generator, right? Getting a battery and saving power, right? One of the things that people talk about is they don't have enough water. Patty, I'm not getting beating you up too bad, I hope. Is I don't have water for a garden. You need to collect water. Here's what I've learned. I'm a gamer, and here's what I've learned. They operate within a physical world when they build video games now. And there is this video game that I played. Fuck, I can't remember. I would in the moment forget what it's called. Hold on. There is a game that I played. Fuck. I'll have to remember what it is. Oh, I think it's in Steam. Sorry, friends. I wanted to tell you about this game that I played. Once Human. Okay? When they build video games, they have to build them in a physical world. So what happens in the environment, they have to say like, okay, it's raining and it's raining this toxic rain. But when you collect this toxic rain and you split it between the water and the toxic chemical and you refine that toxic chemical, not only can you get clean water from the toxic rain, but that toxic chemical can create fuel for your car. So think about this in a video game. The environment in parts of the map in Once Human, it rains this black toxic oil from the sky. And when you drive around the map and you're trying to figure out where should you live, the downside of this game, one of the things that makes it like, oh, is that you got to build your house in the oil field where it's raining oil from the sky. And you have to build the you have to have the ability to collect the shit coming from the sky. Now, they're within the confines of a physical world. What objects do we have in our world that we can use, that we can easily find? Okay? And here's what I came away with. You take a large container, okay? And then you need to put a liner in the container. So you don't want to collect water in a plastic container, right? You would want to put a liner in there, okay? The liner should have a nipple. You should cut a hole in your container, thread the nipple through the hole so that you have a spout so that you can push a button and get clean water potentially, okay? Or more likely move this water because when you collect rainwater, you're not drinking this. This is for your garden. Okay? So once you've established that you need a jug to collect water in, you need a liner in the jug that has a nipple, you need a hole in your jug so that you can thread the nipple through, right? So you can use gravity, right? To get water out of your container and say into your garden. And if you really want to do that, I can help you with that too. Okay? Now, we're not even talking about how do I get my water to my garden. That's another show. Okay? We're talking about water collection. How do you collect rainwater? Now, what people will say is, well, Jared, if I just have a jug on the ground, I'm not collecting much water. You're right. And what you need is a much larger collection area. How did they do it in the video game? Okay. What they did was they took two 10-foot long, I think though you would call those a 2x4 or a one. Yeah, I think it's a 2x4, right? A 10-foot long 2x4, the whole one, and you cut them in half, right? So that they'll bend, right? Because otherwise, a long 2x4 isn't gonna bend much, okay? But if you cut it in half, and it'll bend a little bit, and then what you do is you take another two 2x4s. And what you do is you create a square at the top, so you have a larger collection area. Then you hang a tarp off that square, right? And what will happen with those long 2x4s you cut in half, you put those at four corners, right? and then you tape the tarp to the 2x4s and it creates a funnel area so you have a wide net to collect water with, right? This isn't a video game. And I've sat many times and I've drawn this out and I'm like, actually would work. Because what you would do is cut a hole in the middle of the tarp and then have it, downward. You're just using gravity. It's like you have a wide net to catch water with, right? And then what we'll have to figure out is like water processing, right? Because ultimately, if we're just collecting rainwater and then redistributing that to our garden, should be good. We should be good. But what you might also have to do is collect the water off your roof when it rains. So you might have to pipe from your gutter to your rainwater collection system to increase its intake. Once human. Yeah, it's like a Steam game. I basically play it until it gets repetitive. So what I usually do with video games is I decide whether they're worth beating. For the record, the answer is Elden Ring, worth beating. But most other video games, I'll get late in enough a game where I'm like, I'm good. Yeah, I want to grow raspberries, blueberries, because I like fruit, right? I'll eat it. I'll eat, especially blueberries and raspberries. Those are my favorites. hmm You gotta remember, I grew up on ices. You remember getting ices from the gas station? And Coke was my least favorite, so I was always getting the raspberry and blueberry, the red and blue. Because I love the fruit too. My parents grew a garden. Strawberries are coming up between you and your neighbor. That's awesome. Heavy resentment is what's between me and my neighbors. They hate me. I don't mow my yard enough. They mow my next door neighbor mowed his yard 3 times in 7 days. I might mow my yard once every 2 weeks. So I just try to get my lines straight with his. We have a tub drain that we can get gray water from, that to the garden too. Right now it just goes to the yards from a mini rental in our backyard. Sweet. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Yeah, that's one of the things I want to do is I want to do that's one of the things that was happening in Once Human is I was doing the sorts of things that I tell you that, hey, you might need to get a generator, you might need to get solar panel and make your own solar. You have to do those things in Once Human because Once Human is an RPG about after humanity's gone. So one of the things that you see are like you drive up on a work scene where like this is where people worked and it just looks like a factory. However, it looks like real life. It looks like a factory. Except you'll notice like there's vehicles everywhere and they're not parked in a combat position. And these cars aren't blown up. Where are the people? It's just like a world without people in it. And what it's written in the style of oh gosh, what's the writer? I've lost it. I've lost it. But his I don't know how to explain it. The way the game flows and what style of characters are in the game. It's very unique. But it's basically a video game about homesteading. If you really want to think about it, you know? Yeah. Like you have a motorcycle or car that you have to fuel and repair and upgrade, or a truck, all the way up to a truck. And then you can also run to the top of shit and jump off it and skydive everywhere, like Far Cry. And then it has this like you have to put up a 4x4 in an area, get power, get your tools here, get like I said, when I meant get power, get your tools and your power here so you can build, so that you can like try to get off the land. And when I say it, I mean it. Like whatever's right there that is just being produced by the where you built. Hmm. So I understand that that was a video game, and then I spent hundreds of hours homesteading in real time, in real life. Yep. Now the difference was I didn't have to physically produce those items, right? But part of the video game is like the gathering of the materials to make those items. Is it? Yeah. I just want to remind everyone, free Palestine. Um, what you are seeing uh, in the things we share in this show, okay? Israel plans to capture all of Gaza, okay? As though we didn't already know this, okay? As if we didn't already know this. Israel ended a ceasefire with Hamas in mid-March. So it controls half of Gaza already. They halted all humanitarian aid into the territory, including food, fuel, and water, setting off what is believed to be the worst humanitarian crisis in 19 months of war. Israel's offensive has displaced more than 90% of Gaza's population, and Palestinian health officials say killed more than 52,000 people, many of them women and children. The officials do not distinguish between combatants and civilians in their count. Oh wow, look at this shit. How about student loan collection begins? Hold on. I went to share that and it was too fucking big. No, I don't want that. Sorry. I went to send you this link for where Trump's going to start um, loan collections for 5 million student borrowers in default. Okay. Part of the reason you got to get involved in politics is shit like this because it's a constant fight, right? Missouri voters restored their own abortion rights. Their leaders are trying to overrule them. I didn't know this until just now. Apparently, there was a shooting in Glendale, Arizona. Um, oh, I guess it happened this morning. Multiple shooters in a restaurant. More than one suspect. Multiple people detained. Shooting happened a little over 12 hours ago at a steakhouse in El Cameron Gigante. 5 injured victims include gunshot wounds and shrapnel injuries. Three killed, 5 wounded, multiple shooters, Glendale, Arizona. Remember how I told you the most valuable commodity that the United States has is entertainment? You know how I know it's super valuable? Because Donald Trump orders a tariff on 100% tariff on foreign-made movies to save Hollywood. Okay, understand like movies can now be made really cheap. Do you know what I've learned? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, so don't take this as disrespect. Okay, don't take this as disrespect. Because I would hate for someone to be a filmographer or a videographer and then be like, Jared, you're a shitbird. That takes a fucking ton of education and time. I met someone that is in the movies, and I've been friends with them for years. They did post production. Okay, so once the movie like wraps up, before it gets distributed, they get their hands on it and they cut it up and shit, make it good. Is what I would say they do. For the record, they take a bunch of shit. ICC moves slow, CC. That's one of the things when all this went down, CC, you know what conversation I had with my friends in law enforcement because they know the law. They were like, "Oh, the ICC is going to end up with this in their hands, this administration in their hands. They take forever." So, know that since all this shit started, we've been talking about the ICC, about Article 5, NATO, about we've talked about it. Someone said recently Jack Smith went to The Hague. Yeah, that's one of the things I want to make sure that we also say because I wasn't dodging it. It's just I never had to interject and say, where are you getting your fucking information? Because a story never popped, and I thought maybe will never happen again where somebody just like puts a lie out in my chat and everybody just believes it and that's what we go with. Um, I don't know where y'all got that Jack Smith went back to The Hague, but I haven't seen a fucking word. Not a single story. I haven't shared a single story since he left. And we get on here every day, 8 o'clock in the morning, and are generally looking at what happened breaking in late last night into today and yesterday. So we're always like on time, and we can look at what happened yesterday. It's like a show that touches two parts, right? Now and yesterday. Okay. And I've not shared a single fucking story about Jack Smith going back to The Hague, but I've heard it many times. And I'm just like, on what? On what? I know that President Trump has targeted the firm that he works for. I know that I said he would be a great fit for the president of the ICJ because they just resigned right before he released Jack Smith's Volume 1. I want to see Jack Smith's Volume 2 and the results of Executive Order 13848. But if you want to know why we protest, boycott, and strike, I encourage you to check out Reddit Suppressed News. And largely what you'll see, in my opinion, as someone who does not watch mainstream media, right? I can see the stories because we talk about these, right? You'll see plenty of links for me from Fox and CNN and MSNBC about the things that are going on, right? But you'll notice when it comes to what is actually happening, that shit's not on the news, right? Right? I want to keep driving home this point. When we look back on this time, we ask, what pieces of legislation has Donald Trump passed in 2025? And let's go to AI mode because we don't care about executive orders. Executive orders aren't laws, okay? Key legislation, okay? One of them is the Laken Riley Act, okay? By the way, let's also ask, what is the Laken Riley Act? And let's ask AI. Okay, I just want to ask a question. If you read the Laken Riley Act, which I'll read the little excerpt here because it's pretty innocent. So this is one of those instances where it's okay to ask AI and they provide a pretty concise answer. The Laken Riley Act, signed into law on January 29th, 2025, mandates the detention of certain non US nationals, aliens, who are arrested for specific crimes. Key provisions of the Laken Riley Act. It requires the Department of Homeland Security to detain non-U.S. nationals who are present in the U.S. without having been admitted or paroled, procured immigration benefits through fraud or misrepresentation or lack of valid entry document, or are charged with, arrested for, convicted of, or admit to committing acts that constitute burglary, theft, larceny, shoplifting, assaulting a law enforcement officer, or any crime resulting in death or serious bodily injury. Okay? So I'm wondering, and again, I'm being a fucking smartass, okay? I'm wondering, when I read the major provisions of the Laken Riley Act, when you read the act that you signed, Donald J. Trump, what about the Laken Riley Act says that you can kidnap and fucking traffic people without due process after you sign the Laken Riley Act, which is meant to, for the record, the purpose of the Laken Riley Act, it aims to strengthen immigration enforcement by mandating the detention of certain U.S. nationals, non-U.S. nationals who commit specific crimes, and allows the state to hold the federal government accountable for enforcement failures. So I just want to point this all out. What the Laken Riley Act does is it allows the state to sue the federal government for their failures. If I'm reading this correct, allows states to hold the federal government accountable for enforcement failures. So again, I'm not a lawyer, not a doctor. I didn't stay up in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But my question is kidnapping and trafficking these people a violation of the Laken Riley Act where they are to be detained? Is anybody not understanding why I'm like, wait a minute, did Donald Trump sign a fucking piece of legislation and violate it? again, I'm gonna repeat myself. The Laken Riley Act, the purpose, like what it does, is it makes it so the Department of Homeland Security is to detain someone that's been arrested, that's a non-U.S. national, that's been suspected of or has committed a crime. Detain, not kidnap and fucking traffic. I'm almost 1,000% positive. Are you ready for this? One of the 5 pieces of legislation that Donald Trump signed into fucking law, the Laken Riley Act, he's violating. And it gives the state the ability to sue the federal government. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Okay? That's one of the things that he's done. Okay? One. Okay? Executive orders don't count. Okay? I know that the other one is a continuing resolution. He also banned paper straws. So there's 2 pieces of other additional legislation. Okay? Let's see. Oh. I think he established Doge. Laken Riley Act. He banned plastic straws. He established Doge. He um like continuing resolution. Is that all 5? I think we figured it out. Hey, y'all, you want to have a great week? Know that no matter what this motherfucker says, no, all the fucking bluster in the world for President Mick Poopy Pants over here came out to the Laken Riley Act, which he's violating, opened himself up to litigation by signing a continuing resolution. He banned paper straws. He established fucking Doge. Now, understand. Oh, got rid of the fucking penny. I want to say the least accomplished. I can totally believe that the President of the United States signed into law the Laken Riley Act, which he then violated. And he poops his pants. And again, I just want to point out how he has a really small circle, right? And he takes them everywhere he goes. It's like he has his Birkin bag with his diapers in it, and inside of it he has the Island of Misfit Toys, right? And again, I'm gonna need someone that's a cartoonist and a satirist to help me, or if you just got a sense of humor and want to participate. But I've got pretty good character concept on Donald Trump. President McPoopy Pants. Let's say he's always wearing sunglasses and he has Donald Trump's comb over, but he's otherwise a baby. That's a adult. That's a baby. Okay? And then obviously he poops his pants. So constant in this show are going to be the farting sound and the squishing sound, right? And him having to go off screen so that somebody could fucking clean his ass up. But I just want to point out there can only be like a dozen people. I've tried to figure all this out. Why does he keep this small circle and it keeps getting fucking smaller? And people that are not all in are suddenly all in, and I really think it's the people that have shown him compassion, that have changed his shitty diaper. he allows into his circle. And if you reject him, he treats you like shit. So you're fucked either way, right? It's all brown all the way down, right? Diabolical dementia deranged dumping Don. Yeah, I'm telling you. President McPoopy Pants and his sidekick, the let's just say like the foreign born. Oh, have you ever noticed he looks like an AI? Like Elon Musk post op is like a robot version of himself, but he's a ketamine addict, so we could just call him Captain Ketamine. It's perfect for him. And then in the line of um, basically making caricatures of people based on their the things that they're addicted to. I was thinking a lot about Pete Hegseth. Because I understand, check this out. I don't know if y'all caught wind of this. I don't know that it's hit a story yet. So not only are Donald Trump's cabinet members using Signal, okay? Not only was that going on, Pete Hegseth had other conversations going on, continuing to use Signal. Did you also know that the President of the United States, the current regime's cabinet, had a Signal clone, meaning they had someone build them a Signal clone, which means it was like Signal 2, and they were using that, and it got hacked. So, I want to also point out Signal got hacked. That happened. You remember Tulsi Gabbard? Do you remember like thousands of people's information got hacked? Yeah. What paper got rid of the cartoonist because of President Poopy Diaper Thinskin? Oh, yeah. Cartoonist did get fired for that. Yeah. You want to make $1 billion? You want to make $1 billion fucking dollars? A zillion fucking dollars? Oh my God. What if somebody wrote a character for Donald Trump in a cartoon, except he wasn't lovable, right? And the baby that's an adult, that's a baby, has a sidekick that has delusions of grandeur and is a fucking meth head and otherwise not a smart person, right? And it's a cartoon. And largely, I just want to point this out, okay? One of my girlfriends from when I was on active duty, she became a family doctor. And, she's just like a colleague more than anything. She became a family doctor. And we had a conversation a while back about Donald Trump and Elon Musk, the unlikely duo. Okay. For the record, before they met, you got to understand Donald Trump was in the dumps. Remember? Like Pinky in the Brain. And he was losing, man. His crowd sizes were absolutely rock bottom. He had no mobility at all. He looked like defeated. Enter Elon Musk, the serial fucking opportunist, right? Not only does he have fucking delusions of grandeur, where clearly they think they can go in. Yes, S&M, yes. The way to defeat these people is with comedy and satire. And again, you don't identify that this is a story about Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Pete Hegseth, who again, for the record, I was trying to think of like a name for Pete Hegseth, and all I could think about was like he's got a drinking problem, and he was a major in the army. So as you could possibly imagine, I went with major drinking problem, right? and talk about, hey, when someone has a visible drinking problem, this person's dependency, their outward dependency. It's not a hidden thing that nobody knows about and you do it on your own time in your own business and you're otherwise able to do it. They gotta yeah, they want to take out Sesame Street. It's time to fire back with bigger guns, right? Like what's bigger than combat? What's bigger than violence? Things that last the test of time, like a cartoon. If a cartoon is it has the intent of delivering a message where it's gonna be very much like as far as like what you do on that cartoon, it's like look exactly what is very clearly happening in front of you and just rip it to shreds. Because honestly, I want to see Donald Trump say poor people don't need to know that climate change is going to affect them more than it affects me. So that's why I got rid of the NOAA, is so they can't see it coming and they're blindsided by a storm. And then I take the FEMA funding away and you have nothing, right? Remember that Donald Trump feels empowered when he makes you helpless. He's winning when you're beaten down. But it's when you decide like enough is a fuck enough. These people are absolutely despicable and also they're awful at like everything. Do you know how bad think about this. Do you know how bad you have to be, Pam Bondi, where I couldn't think of a cartoon version of you? Because I actually like women. I have a good relationship with most women, so it's actually, Tulsi Gabbard's totally a Russian asset. So as long as she's uh, constantly trying to sneak out of the room and have a conversation as a sidebar, um, yeah. But this is what these people deserve. They deserve to be reduced to a cartoon, much like the chaos that they have embroiled us in. It's cartoonish. So it's like not only are they like shit people, they suck at their everything they're fucking doing. Imagine signing the Lake and Riley Act and then violating it. Because I'm willing to bet you that if you kidnap and traffic someone to a foreign country, you're violating the detention order in the Lake and Riley Act where it says you're supposed to detain these people. I don't think detaining them is releasing them into the custody of a foreign country at a closed prison and then letting them get traded for political prisoners with another country, a third country, Venezuela, who reported that to the ICC. There's no way shit doesn't go down over that. Does that all make sense? So I get it. There's a reason we call it Justice's Waiting Room, right? And we've been going for basically 6 months now. We're a week off 6 months. I think we get TikTok back a day before our 6 month mark. So hey, we've been going for over 90 minutes. Okay. I appreciate you sticking around despite my failure to keep our TikTok uh, unbanned, I guess. There's some, but yeah, I want to make sure we talk about it. And you get it on the table and you say, hey, you're out here celebrating, okay? But let's talk about what we actually accomplished so far. What actually went into effect. Lake and Riley Act, some continuing resolution, ban paper straws, ban the fucking penny. Okay? Trying to rename Veterans Day to Victory Day. Trying to take that away. Um, trying to take the Marine Corps birthday away and shit. Like, nah, 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 nah. He ain't touching none of that shit. So no, no, like it's sometimes when we talk about stuff, it's like depressing and shit. But it should just motivate the fuck out of you because these people are so goddamn beatable. It's stupid. And the same thing goes for the fucking Democrats too. The sit on your hands and do absolutely dick. The say nothing, let them fuck themselves up. Yeah, no matter how many people it fucking kills, they'll still be standing there just like they have through this genocide, saying fucking nothing. Look, I'll be real with you. One of the things I know I'm not an elected official. Do you know what I would be doing every fucking day? Free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. What the fuck are we doing? All these moms and kids are fucking dying, and we ain't doing shit about it. That's how I know I couldn't be an elected official because that's why I would be running to a fucking microphone every day and say, we didn't talk about Palestine today. We didn't talk about Kiev today. So that's why, like I said, we got to establish the American Socialist Party. We got to put people on this to, right? We gotta say, like, the powers that be are already saying if ever there were a workers' party where millions upon millions of people who don't call themselves a Democrat or a Republican were to just join together all for universal healthcare, education, income, and housing, you would defeat these 11 fucking billionaires that are, without a shadow of a doubt, negatively impacting your quality of life and your cost of living. Just make sure you say it with your whole fucking chest. Like, as much as these Republicans are fucking awful, these Democrats will stand there with their hands in their pockets and be like, yeah, that shit's on fire and it's their fault. And it's like, right, Dougie, get a bucket. The fuck? And that if you don't have a platform and you aren't trying to provide solutions to problems, your political party is doing absolute dog shit. And as far as I could tell, there's a party creating problems. There's a party pointing out problems. But as far as actually having a platform, pushing legislation, understanding politics as popularity contest, it's about identifying your oppressors, right? It's, as we've said, there's 54 members, 54 elected officials that call themselves Democrats that vote conservatively, that are fucking kneecapping the American people. That centrist shit is absolutely whack. It does not work. Understand that everybody out here wants to say like everybody used to just become Democrats. And it's like, not when I think I can be bigger than them in no time. Not when I think like if we continue to grow the show and again not be profit seeking, the party has a chance. Because you can't be you can only ask people to give to a cause. If you're trying to make money off a show and have people give to a cause, you're gonna fail. Because ICC takes their time, they don't miss. We talked about this for months, CC, where we talked about if the ICC has to get involved, understand it's not gonna Justice's waiting room. There's a reason we called it. That's the name of the show. Is because we knew up front, like I told you up front, what they're proposing to do in Project 2025, and this was before he was elected, was going to end up involving international courts. It's just they're going to take their time and make sure that they don't miss. There's a reason. Again, one of the things that'll stick out of my head about this year so far is Mark Root telling the President of the United States, you should check out The Hague in June. You should come visit, Don. And don't act like he won't. Don't act like he won't. Walk in there like the little boy he is, just, oh, wow, yay. Just might take a while. There's a reason we call it Justice's Waiting Room. There's a reason I'm here every day. Have a good rest of your day.